His perspective and all that, getting hit multiple times coming out of that bike section. More drivers coming to blows.
Greetings, race fans, and buckle up for Sim Racers Group Formula 3 Racing on SMB. JR Gregory here with you on the call, along with my partner, Ken Miller, and our producer, the one and only Magic Mike Braun. And as the second ever season of SRG F3 crosses the midway point, we'll be visiting Oulton Park. And with names like Knickerbrook, Druids, Lodge, and Old Hall, if you guessed we're in the UK, you are right. Oulton Park Circuit was built in 1950 on the site of the Oulton Estate, 1 hour southeast of Liverpool in England, and has played host to F1, F2, F3 over its 70-year history, and currently hosts British touring cars and British superbikes, among many others. Today's layout, 2.6 miles, 4.3 clicks, tragically with 17 corners. More on that later, but the two chicanes that were added on the back straight over the years for safety purposes are being run here tonight. And Kenan, tonight brings us a classic track. It is diabolically designed, blind apexes, wild camber changes, crazy elevation changes. And so what are your keys to getting safely around Oulton Park tonight?
Yeah, absolutely, JR. There's three big keys that you're going to want to do. You've got to make friends with the curbs. Some of these curbs, you will see they're very tight. They've got tire bundles right at the apex. You're going to want to make friends and not go overstepping that line, and also being able to keep the car underneath you. With the way the off-camber corners affect the car on this track, it can really send you sending wide and off into the grass. So be careful over that. Secondly, you're going to want to use the draft to gain time. There's a few long straightaways, like you pointed out. There isn't the massive long back straightaway like we know and love with the chicanes, but it's still a good opportunity. You can use the slipstream, try and make a hard dive in the difficult braking corners. And three, you've got to be aggressive on the brakes. Like we've mentioned, two hard chicanes, that's where you're going to have to be on the brakes at most. It's also two of your best areas to really complete a pass. It just really comes down to how brave you're feeling and what kind of car you feel you have underneath you. It is really going to be where a lot of the passing happens, is in the two slowest corners at the chicanes.
Yeah, absolutely right. And because I know that the iRacing administrators listen very carefully to me every time I'm on the air, I'm going to beg them to bin this configuration with these two chicanes. This track is absolutely fantastic. That long back straightaway heading down into Knickerbrook is the most exciting thing about Oulton Park, and it's completely ruined with these chicanes. But rant off for now. Probably more on that later. But as qualifying winds down here, we're coming to the end of a 1 hour open qualifying session, about 90 seconds remaining on that, and currently it is Stephen Case up top from Green, from Poborgi, from Eggert, from Adrian Lopez, your top five. Case with a fairly comfortable grasp on that pole position, half a second ahead of Jason Green and P2. And in the unlikely event you're joining us for the first time, you're going to be treated to two races here tonight on Slow Motion Broadcasting. We'll open the festivities following our qualifying session here with a 15-minute heat race, and the results of that heat race will set the grid for our second race, our feature race. And we're going to ride along with Jason Green right here through one of my favorite parts of the track. And who doesn't love riding on a circuit with those obstacles right up next to the track that will destroy the car and send you to the hospital? But these drivers making the best of it. And I got out here for a few laps, Kenan, earlier, and Stephen Case, to make that 126 almost flat happen, is absolutely flying. And not only is he flying, in order to get those extra couple of tenths around this track, there are a couple spots where you really have to take some risks, and Stephen Case able to get that done.
Yeah, Stephen Case, clearly the dominant runner all season long, looking to get his 7th win in a row so far this season. And he just really maximizes the track limits of what the car is giving him. He's certainly proven that all year long, and he's just pushing it to every limit. This track, because it is an all-natural track, as you see, lots of grass around on the sides and the curbs, the off limits kind of speak for itself. You don't want to touch the grass. It's going to send you spinning right around. So you have to get yourself just enough on the curves, but not too much that you're losing grip. And Stephen Case so far well ahead of the field and setting himself in a very nice spot for the start of this qualifying.
Yeah, such a tough track. And when you talk about old school in the context of Oulton Park, you're talking about old school danger. And we'll keep an eye out for spare body parts here as this one unfolds. But here is your grid for the 15-minute heat. It is Stephen Case lined up front next to Jason Green. In row 2, Danush Poborgi will line up next to Christopher Eggert. Behind them, Adrian Lopez and Jason Cotcher. Then Ope Oladipo next to Igor Grunsky. Varun Bali will line up next to Justin Snyder in row 5. Then it's Joshua Corwin next to Tyrone De Silva in 11 and 12. Chris Wang will line up next to David Borden in row 7. Then Jose Navas next to Jacob Guyton in 15 and 16. And then Kulkaran Dillon will line up next to Adam Duvall in row 9. And yeah, this is going to be an exciting one. I always circle Oulton Park on my calendar. It is an absolutely fantastic track, and the flowing nature of it, the elevation changes, it is just a thrill, even with those horrible chicanes. And I'll promise to stop complaining about it fairly soon. But as we're looking at the grid there, that is Case right there on the right-hand side in the blue 243. So he is set up up on the outside, but has a pretty good distance advantage into turn one. And we'll talk about turn one more as the evening wears on. Very, very tough corner, requires a high degree of precision and good knowledge of the track limits. And we are green, the top group, getting off very, very cleanly. It is Case from green, from Poborji, from Eggert, nose to tail. Although it looked like Eggert was sniffing around on the inside of Poborji just a little bit. Poborji able to hold him off, and the field looking good, although it looks like May had an incident off the start. Borden has dropped like he's pulling an anchor, and as we head down the first short straight into the first difficult corner here, there is Poborji, who's taking it to green on the inside there. That is Cascades corner. Now we're going to head into Shell Oil corner, another passing opportunity and a place where you can run these cars side by side, as you see right here. And here we go into the first danger zone, as it's Case from green to Poborji. This first very, very difficult chicane. The front runners get through clean, but there's one more down the hill, and this one is the tough one. Set one tire wrong, and those bollards there, whatever they're made out of, will definitely total the car and put you on the flatbed. But so far so good, Kenan. Pretty good start here at Oulton Park.
Yeah, everybody's gotten themselves pretty clean. Chris Eggert down in the back seemed like he had a pretty good start and is off to a decent little run. And Varun Bally also up 3 positions into 6. So lots of good competition through the field. You see the front spread out a little bit, but Poborji, I think he did what he had to do, try and make a lunge there to get ahead of Jason Green. It didn't quite work out, but I think it kind of sets the aggressiveness he has to bring to tonight's race.
And I may have spoken too soon on that clean first lap. I see Cotcher and Novice have both picked up meatballs and are taking toes back to the pit. So we have lost a couple of our solid mid-pack runners right there. And there it is. I told you turn one was difficult, and you have to absolutely flirt with the track limits. And Novice going a little bit wide there, coming across into Cotcher. And you see Cotcher's wheel damage right there as he Cotches his way down the track, and that car needing repair. And there is another, oh, well, maybe I had the wrong car there. I thought that was Cotcher that they showed in the grass, but Cotcher definitely taking a tow, and it looks like we lost Novice as well, and it looks like Oladipo is off as well, and now Grunsky. So, oh my goodness, a crash party has broken out here, and that red and white car that you just saw right there, I think that is Oladipo. So things getting messy in the midfield here, but up front it's still not still. Jason Green has gotten by Case, actually. So it's Green from Case, from Poborji, from Eggert, from Lopez. So things changing up front, and look at Jason Green drive away. He's dropped Case to the tune of 1 second, and certainly could not have seen that coming after that hot qualifying by Case.
Yeah, we'll have to go back and look at what maybe happened to Case. Here's a replay, and takes it a little hot through the first chicane, finds himself in the grass, and Jason Green was staying close enough, just really opens the door. Thankfully, I don't think any damage to Stevens Case's car there, but that'll certainly set back your confidence the next time you want to go into that corner, and just how hard you can really push the car overall. So this is a good opportunity for Jason Green to take advantage.
Yeah, those chicanes so tough, and that first one there, it's kind of like they take this sweeping, flowing circuit and throw an autocross course in the middle of it. That's second gear, get very quick hands to get through there quickly, very hard not to overslow there, and Case trying to make his best time through there, washes out of it, and may have gotten a slowdown out of it as well, but if that's the case, didn't cost him as much as it could have. He's still within a second of Green and slowly ratcheting that interval down, and you see it right there. Green lost a chunk of time just in that first chicane, and that shows you that Case has got that one more or less nailed to get through there quickly, although he did make an error early. But yeah, up front, Green, Case, Poborji, Eggert, and Lopez, and the field spreading out a little bit here early, Kenan, and very tough technical track. And here is a replay of Cotcher and Oladipo exchanging body panels. So it was not the incident in turn one that I thought it was. I'm not sure what we were looking at there, but big hit there from Cotcher and Oladipo, and not surprised that things can definitely get a little bit messy here around Oulton Park, Kenan. It's very, very tricky track and very narrow track, and punishes small errors pretty severely.
Yeah, absolutely. And I'm surprised we've seen so many passing attempts in turn 4 so far. But Borgi obviously went on Jason Green on the opening lap. And then we do see the contact there that Jason Cotcher had, and obviously results in a really bad finish for his race with the damage he sustained. So that's kind of an interesting spot to be trying to make a pass that goes right into a hard curve braking zone. You can make the most of it, but this early on in the race, it's not worth the risk versus the reward, in my opinion.
Yeah, and I see Bolly and Corwin there banging wheels, and things getting a little bit salty, and fuses getting a little bit short right there. Those guys were clearly banging off of each other, so we'll have to keep an eye on that little conflict. That is for P6. That is Corwin from Bolly from De Silva, and oh my goodness, and there went De Silva. Tries to make a pass into the first part of that chicane, and the little chicanery there, probably not a great idea, knocking his competitor off the track, and that may earn him a trip to the principal's office. We'll take another look as Bolly sticks it down the inside there and absolutely or gets shunted, actually, and no racing room left for Bolly. That was De Silva, rather, sticking it down the inside. So kind of a tough move there, and Bolly getting punished.
Yeah, the chicanes are certainly an area where you can try and make a pass. That was a little bit of a deep lunge. The first chicane is not very much as susceptible for passing as the second one is, coming onto a more straighter 90-degree corner. So that's kind of interesting. We'll see what the stewards maybe decide throughout the session. But just tough contact, two drivers racing really hard, and unfortunately the tires met.
Yeah, and in that group of cars, there was some pretty hard wheel banging going on there. So some aggression happening in that part of the grid. And there is Chris Wang, and he's got Varun Bolly all over him as they head down into that beautiful Cascade corner, I think where they are right now. And I'll tell you what, Ken, that is super fun in these cars. I'm a GT3 driver, and that's one area, that Cascade corner, where I'm always clenching up a little bit, wondering if I'm going to maintain grip through there. But it is absolutely flat out in these F3 cars. Absolute blast flying through there and then breaking down into that nice banking on Shell corner. So this really is a fantastic track for these F3 cars. And still with Wang here, looking ahead at Schneider. Critical corner right there. So easy to overcook the exit right there of that chicane complex and get a bad run. But and Mike is in my ear right now telling me that Case is off again. So things going from bad to worse for Case. He's all the way down into P7. And, you know, Jason Green is loving that. He's got a 3-second gap back to Poborgi, and Green just might, and of course this is just the heat race, but Green might knock Case off of the P1 for the first time there. And you see Case over-rotating a little bit there, trying to make something happen through that second set of chicanes. And those chicanes so tough. And I'm not surprised to see him causing problems. Or no, is that the first chicane actually where that happened? It might have been. So the chicanes not treating Case here well at all.
Yeah, no, he's certainly having trouble keeping the car underneath him. He is very quick in practice and put together some decent little runs. So kind of surprised to see him fall back. But as you mentioned, Jason Green's going to absolutely love this. To be in a qualifying heat race, it's certainly going to set Stephen Case back with a lot of traffic to have to get through, come to the main feature event. So it's a good opportunity for anybody up front. Poborgi and Green, the two biggest competitors to Stephen Case. This is one they've really got to try and seize the opportunity right here in this qualifying race as well as in the future event.
Yeah, Green, Poborgi, and Eggert kind of dominating the podium throughout the first half of the season here, and they are all sitting pretty, with Case sitting right now in P7. Couple of big movers here in the heat race as well. I've got Josh Corwin up 6 positions, and Tyrone De Silva likewise up 6. Oh, and there is Grunsky bidding that 3 car, and man, oh man, that is going to dump him all the way down to P16, courtesy of a flatbed. He's taking a tow back to the pit. So rough and tumble here at Oulton Park. Not super surprised, pretty difficult track, and really requires a lot of practice to squeeze out those last couple tenths and understand the track limits and get some of the nuances out here, particularly those chicanes.
Yeah, the chicanes are certainly proving difficult. We've seen several drivers go off there. The turn fours where we've seen a lot more passing and contact than I'd really expect. I'd be surprised. I think drivers will kind of learn from this race going into the feature of kind of maybe where the spots are you're kind of coming together. But we've also seen for such a technical track, there are several different groups of drivers all throughout the field that have pretty good battles going on. This track sort of tends its hand that things get spread out, that drivers little nuances here and there. It becomes very much a single file race, but many battles all throughout, and I don't expect it to change when we get into the feature.
Yeah, and I'll tell you something else, Ken. We are only 10 minutes in here to this 15-minute race, and our overall gap from Dylan, who is the last car on the lead lap in P14, to Jason Green in P1, 50 seconds. So that more or less guarantees that back markers and traffic is going to create a problem in the future for the leader. So that is definitely going to be a wild card that we are going to see dealt out here in the future race. But for the heat, we've got about 4.5 minutes remaining. It's green from Paborgi, from Eggert, from Lopez, from Corwin, and then De Silva and Stephen Case trying to work his way back up, still sitting in P7 with about 7/10 gap ahead to De Silva, but the gap's kind of spreading out there. You see all those white numbers on our intervals. Those are all intervals over 1 second. So the field spreading out a little bit more than you would think. And I'm going to go ahead and blame those chicanes for that. If we had that long back straight, we'd probably still be nose to tail at this point in the proceedings.
Yeah, and Stephen Case is not really making very much progress on Tyrone De Silva, and may have just had another issue, losing a second of time very quickly. So we'll have to kind of see what's going on with him. I don't know if maybe he's just settled in, or the couple spins he's had has just really put the heat in the tires, and he's just not able to get the balance back in the car like you'd want. And yeah, you see he can carry a little too much speed through the Shell Oils corner, and turn 5, it just spits you right out into that grass. It's really fun corner to hit when you get it right, but you kind of catch yourself a little too far up into the corner and in the banking, and sort of spits you right on out.
Yeah, it is an absolute riot when you hit that just right. The heavy banking, you roll on the power at the right moment, and it just kind of drifts out to the exit. And yeah, great feeling when you get that one dialed in. This one as well, very, very tricky corner that we're seeing Case go through right there. Excuse me. That is Lodge, and you saw the elevation change right there. The car lightens up right when you're trying to get it woed up and get it rotated through that right-hander. So mastering that one as well is absolutely on the ragged edge, and feels good when you get that one nailed properly as well.
Yeah, it's a really good track when you hit it right. It can also be the end of you when you get it wrong. The track, as you see, is very much lined with a lot of rubber tires all on the outside, and lots of gravel pits. So when you do go off, you're generally impacting something. It's very difficult to save it on the slick grass, and you see he's getting a little bit of grass kicked up to around De Silva, and Stephen Case kind of right back on him, looking to make a move. If he can get to him, Joshua Corman is probably out of reach, but he may have a chance to get there and get into 5th for his qualifying spot.
Yeah, and for Case, if he can get this pass done on De Silva, that will move him up a row in the qualifying order for the feature. So definitely something he's interested in making happen. Plenty of time to get it done. He probably has 2 laps here, and is definitely caught up to De Silva fairly easily. He's got that gap down to about 2/10. Shows his nose there on the inside of Druids. Would have been surprised to see a dive right there, but maybe we'll see something into Lodge. And here's where you see mastery of these cars, and mastery particularly of the brakes on those cars. See the little wiggle there from Case, but such a tough place to challenge the entry right there, Lodge, and hoping to see a lot more of that in the future. Case will shoot by and secure that P6, going a little bit wide right there, but the track limit's pretty generous right there, and does include a little nibble on the grass on that exit of turn 1. So Case showing us his understanding of the limits right there.
Yeah, he really pushed everything he could to get by Tyrone there. Really nice move, and kind of going back to our keys of the race, just how aggressive you have to be in the braking areas. That it's a real good opportunity, especially that final corner, that you can try and buy a little bit of brakes and maybe hopefully pull kind of a slide job off the exit of the corner. And it didn't quite fully work until the end into turn 1, but Stephen Case able to get the job done.
Yeah, and speaking of Lodge, that's what I was talking about right there. The car lightens up right as you're trying to get it rotated over the crest of that hill, and you see Dylan getting a little loose there, heading off into the grass. Frankly, not doing much to hurt him. He's actually up one position into P16 after that incident. And I might have spoken too soon, because that car now needs a tow, and that's where Dylan is heading now. He's on the flatbed heading back to the pit. So forgettable race so far for him. And somehow Stephen Case has got less than a second ahead to Josh Corwin. You got to think the white flag has flown this time with the time that's showing on the timer. Not 100% sure on that, but let's see if Case can get something done against Corwin here. And that gap continuing to drop. Case had the fastest lap until just a moment ago. It was snatched away from him by Poborgi, who's thrown down a 1:26.550, who had just nipping Case by about 1200ths on the last lap.
Yeah, the top is really setting quite a good pace all throughout the top three between Green, Poborgi, and Eggert, and expect that to carry into the race. Stephen Case is pushing himself pretty hard. He's down under half a second on trying to get Corwin. You would think he gets in there. We see Christopher Wang having a little bit of an issue going around, but Stephen Case might be able to get there. You just don't want to be too aggressive and cost yourself more spots. I think he's put himself in a good starting position. He can still find a way to win this race.
Yeah, Case is probably feeling just fine about getting up into the third row for the feature. But here comes Green, and surely the checker is going to be out this time around. And yeah, here he comes through Lodge. Lost track of where we were for just a second, but yeah, there is the checker. So Jason Green, a rare non-Stephen Case victory here in the heat. He will have the pole for the next event. So good work for Green. It's Green from Poborgi, Eggert, Lopez, Corwin, and there's Stephen Case in P6. De Silva, Snyder, Bali, and Chris Wang recovering from that little spin you saw him do to hang on to a top 10 position. And that is the starting order for our future race. So we will go through that with you when we show you the grid for the feature. We're going to have about a 5-minute warm-up here, review some season points with you, and take a breather. Run to the fridge, run any place you need to run, as the first of our two races here tonight on Slow Motion Broadcasting concludes, and an excellent preview of the action we're likely to see here in the feature at Oulton Park.
Yeah, I think the one thing we kind of learned from this heat race is there's three drivers you're going to have to look out for. Obviously, Stephen Case spinning out twice, very rare to see happen. Starting in 6, that's going to be an interesting run to the front. But then also, Ope Oladipo always has some speed, and Jason Cotcher, they're going to be starting all the way at the rear of the field. They're going to certainly be a little antsy. They didn't get but so much track time during this race, and I would fully expect them to be quite aggressive, getting themselves through the field in quite a hurry as well.
Yeah, absolutely. And here are your championship standings. And folks, tonight's points reading of our championship is brought to you by Stefano Casse Industries. When you're feeling classe, go with Casse. But here are your individual points. Stephen Case with a stranglehold, 100-point gap between him and Jason Green in P2. There is Eggert in P3, tied with Danush Poborgi. So some very tight intervals there. Bali in P5, Corwin, Conway, Wang, Cotcher, and Lopez rounding out the top 10. And a lot of movement potential there in reach. These races can be worth close to 30 points apiece. So a lot of these drivers still alive. And as Mike scrolls that will let you get through the remainder of our field here. We've had a lot of cars show up for these races, 34 of them, as you can see there, although not everybody scoring. And here are your team points up top there. L10 Racing Team with that 100-point lead. You could probably guess that is Stephen Case with his teammate Aaron Van Wagner. Then JGJS is Justin Green and Jason Snyder. Dad Tax Racing Team is Corwin and Lopez. They're up 1 from last week. Then Who's My Teammate? Poborgi and Dylan. They are down 1, having swapped spots with Dad Tax. And then Team Labubu is Bali and Labivi there in P5. And I'll let you go through the rest of those on your own. But Case absolutely dominant here in the points, both on individual and team standings. And don't forget, if you feel classe, go Casse. All right, here are your Heat 1 results. And of course, we're going to see this again with the starting grid once we get going here in the future. But Green, Poborgi, Eggert, Lopez, Corwin, the top 5. Stephen Case, unfamiliar there in P6. De Silva, Snyder, Pauly, Wang rounding out the top 10. And there is the rest of your field there. Had a couple of folks have incidents early. Oladipo and Cotcher are going to have their work cut out for them. And I'll tell you what, Kenan, something interesting that we're going to get to see here. Normally we see Case drive away. He definitely has pace. But I have seen him have to get work done, get passes done, and Case has got some racecraft, and he's going to show it to us here in the future. Looking forward to seeing what he does to claw his way out of that hole he dug for himself in the heat. But I'm telling you, he is definitely capable of getting passes done on this difficult to pass track, and I fully expect him to make up at least a couple of positions, if not fighting his way all the way at the front. So be fascinating to see how that unfolds.
Yeah, he's certainly at the top of the totem pole for a reason and winning all the races. And I'm sure going into this race, he expects absolutely no different. I think at this point, he's looking to try and run the table. And we all have seen his racecraft. I think it'll be quite an interesting watch to see his drive through the front. It'll be a matter of how he gets there. And like we did see in the qualifying race, pushing it pretty hard. And he seemed pretty comfortable in the lead at the moment and still found himself having some trouble. So maybe not the most familiar with this racetrack. And I think it could prove interesting and maybe bite him. He'll have to really fight his own mental challenges to keep the car underneath him.
All right, well, we are on the clock for the feature, and let's take a look at that starting grid. It is Green next to Poborgi in row 1. Eggert will line up next to Adrian Lopez in 3 and 4. Then Corwin next to Stephen Case in 5 and 6. Tyrone De Silva will line up next to Justin Snyder in row 4. Then Pauly and Wang in 9 and 10. Borden will line up next to Jacob Guyton in 11 and 12. Then it's Adam Duvall next to Jose Naves. Igor Grinsky next to Kulkaran Dillon. And Ope Oladipo next to Jason Cotcher. And the last handful of those drivers all participating in F3 yard sales from various offs and errors during that heat race. So those drivers with work to do, but the lights are on, and that is Green there in the green 160 car, and we are underway for a 25-minute feature race here at Oulton Park. And that is Poborgi on the inside of Eggert, shoots through there easily, and somebody is off there. That is Eggert. Eggert over-rotates in turn 1, has contact with another car. That's at least one car missing body panels as you see Eggert work his way back onto the track. I'm seeing Stephen Case dropping as well. Case was involved in that, and Corwin. So, oh my goodness, that is an absolute game changer. Our season champion may be taking a tow here. We'll see. It looks like he is on the flatbed. Corwin on the flatbed as well. So Eggert's problem there in turn 1 collects Case. Case's reign of terror in F3 has concluded, and he will not win his 7th consecutive race out here at Oulton Park. And man, oh man, I bet Case did not see this coming at all. He definitely had the pace in qualifying, definitely had the pace in practice, but both of his races falling completely apart.
And it can really happen to you. He put himself into a bad position. He had to start in 6th place. That puts you into a really tough spot. You've got a lot of drivers that aren't used to seeing you right in front. They're chomping at the bit. They want to get a whole shot into turn 1. We see the contact. Here we'll take a look back at the replay. We'll see Chris Eggert going into the corner a little fast, runs wide. You see he loses it, and then we kind of have mayhem just ensues behind him. I think you just have a mix-up of cars having a check-up, and unfortunately, Stephen Case is paying some consequences by putting himself in a 6th place starting position. Really sets it off. Yeah, and you see there the car behind Eggert had to make kind of an evasive maneuver. Corwin and just got right into Stephen Case and took both of them out. That's quite shocking. I know that's certainly eye-opening for Jason Green and Danush Poborgi. They were waiting on Stephen Case to get up to the front and make a run on him, so we'll really have to see things go out. And there we see Justin Snyder having a little issue in turn 2. He's getting it back underway as well. So what an interesting start.
Wow, wild stuff. And Eggert actually didn't collect anybody. As Kenan pointed out, that was Corwin going evasive, losing control on cold tires in turn 1 and taking a couple of drivers with him, including your season championship points leader, Stephen Case, who right now not quite DFL in it, but might as well be. Corwin, Case, and Oladipo all sitting in the pits taking repairs right now. So it is wide open. Somebody other than Stephen Case is going to win this one tonight, folks. It's Green from Poborji, from Lopez up front, and Green putting some laps down right now, stretched the interval to Poborji by about a second, and Poborji has dropped Lopez to the tune of about 3.5 with De Silva all over him. So really the action right now is De Silva with Lopez. You see Lopez going a little bit wide over Lodge there. Such a sketchy corner every lap, every time through there. You feel like you're about to eat it, and you see why right there as that F3 car lightens up over the crest. And then we got a little train forming. Bali, Wang, and Borden fighting for P5. Got another train behind Duvall. That's Grunsky, Eggert, Cotcher, and Novice. And you just saw Novice get past Cotcher, speaking to that train. So we've got some fights going on here. A little over 20 minutes remaining, and action-packed race here at Oulton Park.
Yeah, this is really starting to, the heat's really getting turned up. The pressure's definitely on. It's certain opportunities to be had. I think you'll see Jason Green and Dinesh Poborji continue. They're kind of running away. Poborji's still slightly hanging on to the gap and maintaining between our leader, Jason Green. But really that fight between De Silva getting third, I would expect to see Adrian Lopez try and make a push here in a few more laps and see if he can maybe regain some speed. So up and down the field, there's several position changes and really turning into quite a good fight throughout the race.
Yeah, a couple drivers really taking advantage of misfortunes of others. If you just look at the top 10 there, De Silva, Bali, Wang, Borden, and Duvall all moved up 4. Grunsky moved up 7. So some big movers and shakers in the grid this time. And Oulton Park throwing out all kinds of curveballs. Stephen Case, your championship points leader, and frankly favorite to make it 7 in a row here at Oulton Park, is back underway, but 2 laps down in P17, and nobody could have seen that coming.
No, absolutely not. We all kind of expected to see what Stephen Case was going to do and put a show on for us and get another win. It's what's happened all season long, but things have certainly changed, and now we're really getting ready to find out who's going to be the second winner this season in the SRG Formula 3 Series. So it's pretty exciting. Everybody's got a good opportunity here, and one little mistake can certainly cost you, and that can happen to anybody throughout the field.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely, and here is going to get a little replay footage there, and that is Lopez riding a little bit wide there out of that shell corner. And as Kenan mentioned, it's a very exciting corner and fun, and fills you with confidence. Pretty heavily banked there, but you got to be patient getting on the power, or you'll wash out into the grass, as you saw happen right there. And Eggert apparently without damage after that off on lap 1, turn 1, working his way back up through the field. And here comes Chris Wang. Forgot that there was a right-hand corner there, so he'll just take the easy way through. Probably going to get a slowdown for that, but that is going to cost Wang. He had something going there. He, as he sits right now, he is sitting in P7 up 3, but you saw him lose a couple there. So Wang really had something going, and the wheels all fell off in that second chicane.
Yeah, and that was a smart move, though. It's very easy to find yourself under heavy braking, the tires lock up, and the way they use those tire barriers to kind of mark the apexes of the chicane, the damage is certainly not worth it. So taking the smart evasive route looked to be good, and there's Eggert on an absolute mission right now, flying by Igor Grunsky. So he's actually done a pretty good job recovering himself up into 8th place now, but not going to be but so much time, but he may look to see himself in the top 5. We've still got just under 20 minutes remaining in this race.
Yeah, Eggert with plenty of time and plenty of pace. His last lap was about a 128 flat, which puts him about even with Wang, puts him a little quicker than Borden, and very close to Bali and Lopez as well. So actually a lot of the top 10 kind of hovering around that 128 area. And what do we have going on here? And is that Duvall going down the inside, or no? Duvall is the victim there. That was the number 4 car of Novice was testing Duvall there on that Shell Oil corner, tried to go down the inside. It is doable there, but cars came together, and maybe an unfortunate rejoin there as well. I'm not sure if they collected anybody else. Oof, close right there. And despite Lucky being on that number 13 car, not looking too lucky right now. And speaking of lucky, look at, or actually speaking of skill, look at Danush Paborji has chased down Jason Green. That not long ago, that interval was over 1 second. Paborji has got him down to less than 3/10, and a drafting opportunity here down that short back straightaway into Lodge. And is Paborji gonna try it here in Lodge and have a test of the late breakers down here? Or nope, I had that completely wrong. They're coming out of Shell corner. But my point is intact that Paborji has reeled in Jason Green and is putting pressure on him for P1.
Yeah, he certainly found a lot of speed in the car. Got to remember, we're only 6 laps into this race, and a little bit of a quicker, fast lap time. Only 8 minutes on these tires, and managing those tires and getting them up the temperature properly, it can really start to shine as we get to the midpoint of this race. So Paborji falling off a little bit there as we're headed up Clay Hill, but I think he's kind of found some speed and made a good push in the first half. He knows he's got to do it. It's just a matter of the timing and when to set it up. He has to get himself in the right position to make a proper move.
Yeah, and he might be well advised just to kind of hang with Green if he can and save his moves for later. Absolutely a valid point about the tires. Charles and I talk about it every week. There's kind of a witching hour for these tires, 5 to 10 minutes remaining in the session. The people who have taken care of their tires will start to be revealed against the people who haven't. And I'm going to say that Oulton Park is probably going to be pretty hard on tires, Kenan. There's a lot of kind of medium speed stuff and a couple of slow corners that you have to whoa up for and put the power down. So tire wear could definitely play a role here. And here is Green. You see him going wide there out of that is Cascades, I believe. Yeah, and I was calling this one Cascades before. That is Island, of course, but Green getting a little bit wide right there. And that is another one of those places, Kenan, where to get a fast lap, you've got to take risks with the track limits. And Green getting caught out a little bit there. And look at that interval now, back down to 0.3. And will Paborji have a crack into Lodge?
Yeah, this is certainly the opportunity and a spot you could look at it as we're going into Lodge. Drew's corner, very much a single file corner. It just depends on the run. Paborji didn't quite get it there, but I think he knows he's putting some pressure on. He just watched Green make a mistake coming out of turn 2. Jason Green really should be lucky he got into the grass like that and didn't spin out the car. So he's definitely putting pressure on, and I think at this point there's still plenty of time. He can manage the tires. He can follow Jason Green, let him kind of cut the air in the line for everybody, and then look to take advantage. And there you see Jason Green go wide again. So Paborji has definitely put the pressure on. Green's having to fight this car to keep it going straight, and I think it's looking good for Paborji. There's no need to rush for the final move and try and steal this win.
Yeah, and Danush living rent-free in Green's head right now. You see Green kind of overdriving that car. You see him in the grass a couple times within just one lap. So Green definitely needs to take a breath and kind of get this race back in control. And remember that these tires have got to last for another 15 minutes. You cannot flog these F3 cars for 25 minutes and expect any kind of grip toward the end. And look at Danush crank down that interval. Danush looking on the outside of the second chicane here, and would have been surprised if they would have been able to run through there side by side, but Danush letting Green know that he's there. And as one more lap goes, and my goodness, these laps are ticking by so quickly out here. And I'm sure I have a lap counter here somewhere. Yeah, 8 laps down already with almost 15 minutes remaining.
Yeah, I think Paborji is starting to get into the mind games a little bit. Just kind of use that run to take the outside line. Knew that wasn't going to really get him the pass, but just letting Jason Green know, hey, I'm right here. I'm getting the runs on you. And I think he's trying to keep the pressure on. It's going to come down to a mistake. They all know that they've been radioed in. The Stephen Case is out. That's really their top competitor they had circled. So they know it's a mano-a-mano race, and all they've got to do is keep it on track and try and find a way to best one another to come out of top. It's been pretty thrilling rolling. I don't think we've even gotten into the beginning of the real aggressiveness that we'll probably see as we get into the later stage of the race.
Yeah, and showing our previous lap comparisons there right now. Green had one hot one out of the last 5, but you see Poborgi and De Silva both kind of consistently bettering him on those other laps, and Green might be getting a little jittery here. We've seen him, as I said, kind of overdrive that car, end up in the grass a couple times. So Poborgi definitely got to like what he's seeing, and like we said, it may be the best move for him just to stick with Green, polish his bumper, and not try any moves here yet, because Green might have an error here that opens the door for Danush to make a low-risk move up into P1.
Yeah, you don't want to risk it too early. There's still so much time in the race. We're just past halfway. It's really just a matter of setting it up. You can maybe hope you get lucky. There's a mistake or a spin-off. I think both of these drivers seem to have the course handled pretty well, but Poborgi gets a nice run out of the final corner. I don't know if he'll use it to make a look, but he's certainly staying very close. So he's got the speed more than Jason Green, at least at this point in the race.
Yeah, look at him close down that gap, and look at that smooth line through turn 1 at one of the most difficult corners on the track. The apex and exit are both hidden around the bend, around the Armco there of the pit exit. So very, very difficult to get that one right consistently, and it takes high commitment, high degree of precision, and you saw Poborgi perfectly thread the needle there. But in the meantime, after that initial corner, when Poborgi had that gap cranked down pretty well, Green stretching it back out. So the gap between those two kind of doing an accordion right now. And once again, we see Poborgi do a slightly better job through that first chicane and get a couple tenths out of Green. So that may be a pressure point for Green as this one unfolds. Plenty of time left, about 10 minutes. And as Charles and I always talk about, 10 minutes is the tire witching hour. So we may start to see symptoms of worn out tires here sooner rather than later, Kenan.
Yeah, and we'll just kind of see. I would suspect we will see the tire issues come into play here, just with depending on how the drivers have come to manage it. We see Christopher Eggert going up the hill. He's looking to make a run for 7th on Christopher Wang, but not quite close enough, I think, to really pull him in this lap. Maybe he'll set him up for turn 1 or 2. But the tires, I think this track is certainly going to be difficult on tires. It's very hard. It's strenuous on the braking. It's a lot of hard 90-degree corners. It'll certainly come into effect. I think our top 2 drivers are probably very even on tires. We'll certainly see it more throughout the middle of the field. I think our battle for the lead right now is really just going to come down to a matter of confidence and just kind of keeping it together to complete the race.
Yeah, and here goes Eggert. You saw Wang go wide there out of turn 1, and Eggert gets another position back. He's now sitting in P7, about down 4 from his qualifying position. So Eggert working his way back through the field like a hot knife through butter. Now he's got about a 2-second gap ahead to Borden, and looking at their lap times, Eggert just a couple of ticks faster than Borden, so has his work cut out for him. Possible to get another one, and I know that Eggert wants to get every point that he can. He is among the podium runners here on the season. And look at Poborgi now all over Jason Green. Is he going to stick it down the inside of Drew? It shows his nose, makes Eggert go, or makes Green go very, very wide there to leave space. Great respectful driving by both drivers. But speaking of tires, Kenan, going that far offline, that's one of those things that just accelerates that tire wear down the stretch. So Poborgi piling on the pressure here.
Yeah, he's really trying to be aggressive. I can't imagine he was thinking he was going to make that pass going through Druid's corner, but I think he wanted to stick the nose, see what could happen. And there goes Danush. Poborgi goes a little wide. He keeps on to it, only down a little bit. He's found himself to be a little bit faster, but he's going to have to get the car underneath him. He's starting to push hard, and we're seeing he's sliding wide, making a few mistakes. So just got plenty of time to settle it all back in, but you could see the aggressiveness there kind of comes to bite Poborgi back at by the end of it. So a little bit of an interesting tactic to show your nose there. I wouldn't have recommended it. And maybe where he had the speed, he could have used that going into 17. But we'll have to see if he can maybe recoup and get back to Jason Green before the end.
Yeah, and Poborgi paying Green back there in the well-worn grass on the exit of turn 1. There is a cloud of smoke, somebody off. That is Borden. Borden has looped it and launched out of the bowl there, like Kenan was talking about, over-rotating over the edge and bang into the barrier. Not super hard there, but that is going to cost Borden, dropping him down to P9. Borden had something going there. He's still up 2 from his qualifying position, but definitely lost a couple spots right there.
Yeah, he definitely did, and I believe he impacted the wall pretty good, so we'll see how the damage kind of affects him as we keep going on. And we see Poborji's cut it back down from 8/10 back down to half a second, so he's certainly got the speed on Jason Green right now. It's just a matter of how he wants to get the pass done, and he's somewhat running out of time, just at 7 minutes remaining in this race. There's only so many corners left you can really try and make a pass for the win, and he's got to make sure to time it right and set it up so that he has an opportunity to run away without allowing Jason Green to really be able to make a crossover or do something to get him back.
Yeah, to your right, Kenan, and this is kind of the area right now. About 7 minutes remaining, so what's that going to be? Probably 4 or 5 laps, I'm guessing. But this is kind of the phase where if you're saving it up to make a move late, this is where you want to get close and start testing some areas and figuring out where you're going to make that move. And so far, we've seen Poborji with a little wiggle there going through the first chicane. We've seen Poborji stick his nose in a couple places, but he needs to crank that gap down and make a decision here pretty soon, because yeah, you're right. He is definitely running out of time and maybe running out of tires as well.
Yeah, absolutely. That one last setback, and you see he's really starting to fight the rear end of the car. The tires are certainly getting hot, and him driving it so aggressively isn't going to change that at this point. So he's got what he's got. He's just got to find a way to make it fast. He's been quick through this back half, and he's kind of been quicker than Jason Green through the 1, 2, and 3 section here the last few laps. So we'll see what he can do. He's still only half a second away going onto the front stretch again, and closing back up a little bit into 4/10, so he can find the pace. He's just got to put together a clean lap. Those little slips in the rear are really costing him a lot of time on some of these straightaways.
Yeah, they are. And, Oulton Park is one of those tracks where you can kind of trade risk for time. You might take a risk that you wouldn't want to take on every lap, but throw in a risky corner here, corner there, and take a 10th here and a 10th there, and that can add up. And Poborji fans are certainly hoping that one look inside of Druids wasn't everything that Danush had, but it looks now at this point like previously he had a grip advantage on Green, who looked to be overdriving that car and fighting for grip. But there you see it right there. Now it appears to be Poborji who may be running out of tires. Green has been maintaining that gap at about half a second. Poborji unable to reel that gap back down. So Poborji may have had his shot and failed to get that done. And Green just watching that time tick down on his dash, hoping to hang on for the next 4 minutes and hoping to get his first win this season.
Yeah, and that overhead shot is absolutely beautiful. You can really see just how much of the track they're having to use there. And right now it looks like Jason Green's really just getting a little bit more of them. Yeah, we see it. So you see how they're getting in. Jason Green getting all the way onto that curb. Poborji just not quite as much. And that's just that little bit of time. But Poborji was able to get off quicker. He's down to 3/10. He's certainly catching him. And if he can get through 1, 2, and 3 again just as quick as he did last lap, he will be right on Jason Green's bumper.
Yeah, right with him now as you see that gap 25 hundredths right now. And you see Poborji kind of sawing that wheel and that F3 car fighting for grip out here. But that gap coming down. You can get a draft right here. It is possible to make a move here into shell corner. Let's see what happens as Green will cover the inside, but Poborji will try him around the outside, which would give him the advantage into the chicane. But Green manages just barely to stay ahead. Poborji definitely game here, but Green driving well and able to hang on to P1 so far. About 3.5 minutes remaining as time ticking down, and Poborji's chances are beginning to wane here down the stretch, but great racing up front.
Yeah, and you can see at times certainly running out, and Danush Poborji is certainly feeling it. He's every chance he gets to the rear attenuator of Jason Green, he's going for the move right away, and I don't know if that's best for him. I think if he can make such all that effort and get right there to him, that's best to maybe follow him, use him a couple corners, try and see what you can do to set a a good pass up. I don't know if just jumping right to the side is going to prove beneficial, but he's still staying tight. He's right within half a second. We're looking at probably 2, maybe 3 laps to go now, and there's certainly time for him to get back and make one more chance at this win.
Yeah, excellent point, Kenan. And it's easy for us to say sitting here, and it's a little different when you're in the car with the red mist flowing. But yeah, it might be wise for Poborji just to settle in underneath that rear spoiler of green for a few corners and size him up and set something up. But yeah, you're right. Every time he gets close, he's taken a dive, hasn't been able to make it stick yet. And now we'll switch back to the battle for P3. That is Lopez and Bali. Bali has got Lopez down to under 4/10 right now, and you see the progress that Bali has made. He's up 5 positions, so Bali getting work done out here at Oulton Park. Also a shout out to Grunsky up 7 and Cotcher up 8 after we saw him struggling in the heat. Knew he had some work to do here in the feature, and Cotcher getting that work done, finding his way up into the top 10.
Yeah, Jason Cotcher, the captain, that's always nice to see. It's good to see him get back in the top 10. Has certainly been a difficult drive, and he's still got a decent gap between board, and he may run out of time on being able to get him and maybe snag 9th. But and overall, I think probably a pretty good run. I think he'll be happy with it considering how the qualifying race went.
Bali's still hanging on here, and you see that yellow flag there in our timing tower. Looks like De Silva has picked up a slowdown somewhere. And meanwhile, up front, it is green from Poborji, from Lopez. Green has just set his personal best lap. So Green lighting the wick right now and lighting at the right time. He's stretched out that gap back to Poborji to 1 second. And this has got to be the penultimate lap that they're on right now. I don't think the white is out. It will be out next time. So 2 more counting this one. And Green definitely cranked up the boost at the right time as that gap has grown to 1 second. And Green really wanting to hang on here. Let's see what he does through this chicane. This is one area of the track in past laps that has allowed Poborji to get a little closer. And yeah, same thing happens here. Poborji gets 2/10 out of him, plus a little bit there through that first chicane. So Poborji doing a good job there. It's got the gap down to 0.8, but tick, 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 Kenan, running out of time.
Yeah, he really is. He's got to put together 2 fantastic laps if he wants to see himself on the top step of the podium. Still having a nice drive overall through the day. And there we see Christopher Wayne gets loose again through turn 1. We've talked about just how brutal of a corner that is. Unfortunately, collects another machine with him, and that's going to probably put an end to his day. It had such a good recovery run, too, after the opening lap. So you really hate to see that. And now we just see Poborji certainly closed the gap back down 6/10. We will see the white flag getting waved there, so that's interesting. And see what happens with Bali going through turn 5. Just runs himself a little wide, and I don't think he had contact with the car in front, but both cars managed to lose it there. So that's really proven to be a tricky corner. We've seen several cars run off at turn 5 today. Yeah, Adrian Lopez going wide, hard impact on the wall, so that's going to probably be a tow and quite a bit of repairs as well at the end of the race.
Gosh, and looks like Grunsky and Lopez have both picked up meatballs as well. So I know what Charles is thinking right now. He's watching the broadcast, and he knows that this is the tire witching hour where the tires give up the ghost and send cars spinning into the barrier. That's what we're seeing right now. But meanwhile, up front, it is still green from Poborji by about 8/10. We are on the white flag lap, and at this point, barring some kind of catastrophe on the part of Jason Green, it looks like he is going to collect his first victory and the first non-Stephen Case victory. It took 7 races to see it happen, but everything, all the good luck that Case has had thus far through the season has run out. All of his luck in this one was bad, as he currently sits in, as luck would have it, P13. But here comes Green for the last time through Lodge. Just needs to take it nice and easy. Make sure you don't over-rotate and snap right there. He will come onto the pit straight and under the starter stand, and it is Jason Green with the win, with a 1-second lead over Danush Poborji and 15 seconds back of them. Bali and Eggert are still fighting for the last step on the podium. You see Cotcher right there dicing it up with David Borden, and that fight is for P7. And it looks like Bali is going to hang on for that P3. He has crossed the line. Egbert will come across in 4, then De Silva in 5. And it looks like Gretzky is going to cross the line carrying a meatball. And I'm no expert on the rules. That may result in a post-race penalty. So remember, Gretzky currently in P6. We'll see what the final results are for him. Same for Lopez, is going to take the checker with a meatball, and I'm not sure that's permitted. We're going to find out here in a second. As you see Lopez right there with the cool feet and other parts modification to that F3 car, a little extra wind blowing through the tub of that one as he's missing the nose. But my goodness, Kenan, what a wild one out here at Oulton Park. I was expecting things to potentially be a little bit messy, but this definitely exceeded my expectations in terms of incidents.
Yeah, that was a super wild race, and one driver's misfortune turns into Jason Green's really nice, well done day. So he pulled off a good victory. He was prepared to take opportunity of it, and that's just good overall for the championship. It's nice to see a second winner in the season, and that's I'm sure going to be pleasant for everybody. Hopefully we'll get him in the interview booth and hear how he did. But yeah, overall up and down the field, just a lot of names at the back we didn't expect to see there, and just the different wrecks. This Oulton Park circuit really can put on a challenge for the drivers.
Yeah, and Green, always game, does not quite have the pace of Stephen Case, but 5 prior podiums. This will be his 6th podium in 7 races. He's got a couple of P2s, handful of P3s as well, and Green finally taking advantage of the opportunity that was presented to him. Poborji was game, applied pressure, got side by side in a couple of places, but could not make any of those moves stick. And Green is going to get the victory. Poborji, you're seeing there, is going to lay down some donuts and celebrate his 3rd podium. So got some frequent flyers up front, and Varun Bali hanging on for P3, picked up 6 positions to put himself on the podium. That is his first podium of the season, so good drive by Bali. And here are your results. Green, Poborji, Bali are your podium. Christopher Eggert with a very good recovery drive. My goodness, Kenan, look at him all the way up to P4, which is a loss of 1, but still a miraculous recovery after going off in turn 1. Then it's De Silva, Gretzky, Borden, Jason Cotcher, who set himself up for hard charger up 10 to finish in P8. A great drive by Cotcher. Then it's Chris Wang and Justin Snyder will round out the top 10. Then it's Adrian Lopez, followed by Colquhoun Dillon, Stephen Case, Jose Navas, Adam Duvall, Joshua Corrin, Jacob Guyton, and Ope Oladipo. And Oladipo in that first lap 1, turn 1 crash, everybody's least favorite incident, and parked it right then and there. So a tough one for Oladipo. But yeah, pretty good race here at Oulton Park, Kenan. And let's take a quick look outside. And yeah, we might as well start with tonight's winner. And Jason, I'm going to go ahead and give you the non-Stephen Case Award for your first victory here, and the first victory of anybody not named Stephen Case. So excellent drive out there. And obviously the story of this one, aside from Case's early incident, was you being able to hold off Danush Poborji for the entirety of this race. He was definitely game, got his nose beside you a couple times, but couldn't make anything stick. So tell us a little bit about that fight with Danush.
Yeah, I want to just straight away, huge shout out to Danush. Super clean battle. I don't think we had any 0Xs or anything like that. So yeah, it's that was one of the best battles I think I've had in iRacing. And yeah, it's a great circuit to have it at as well. Definitely helped that we were here, as there's very few chances to overtake as it was. So it's pretty easy to defend. And I think his best chance, he said he was in 3rd gear instead of 2nd, coming out of the hairpin. So I was able to pull ahead of him before the first chicane. But yeah, that was a ton of fun. I didn't drive particularly well, I don't think. I made so many mistakes, but I was able to just keep my car ahead of his. So I'll take it.
Yeah, I'll tell you, your crew is definitely going to be spending some time tonight pulling grass out of the bodywork of that number 160, but they can look up at that P1 trophy and probably feel okay about that. So, yeah, fantastic drive, Jason. You've always been there. This is your 6th podium out of 7 races, so you've always been right there, and the door of opportunity opened. You stepped through it and held up for Borgie. So fantastic drive. And as we wrap up, is there anyone else besides Danush that you would like to thank or give a shout out to today?
Yeah, shout out to Cotcher, Jason Cotcher, for putting together this community and this league. It's been a ton of fun, and to shout out to everybody who participates in the league. It's a great group of guys, yeah, happy to be racing with them.
Excellent, man. Well, Jason, thank you so much for stopping by, sharing your thoughts with us here today, and congratulations again on that P1.
Thanks.
All right, that was our winner, Jason Green. And let's go ahead and for you, Kenan, we'll bring in Braun, who moved up 6 positions to snag his first podium of the season.
Yeah, Braun, first time on the bottom step of the podium, finishing 3rd today. A fantastic drive after starting 9th. How would you describe your race and what you're feeling after such a good performance today?
Honestly, for getting no practice, I was happy with qualifying 9th for the sprint race. In the sprint, there was some carnage on lap 1, and I think I got up to 4th or 5th, and then I don't remember who it was, but I kind of just got bullied off track, into the chicanes, wheel banging in the middle of the corner, and then that put me back down to 9th. And then in the race, same thing again, pretty much. Carnage in front of me, took advantage of that, and then towards the end, I think Tyrone made a mistake to spin out of 3rd, and then I was on Adrian for a good 15 laps, just sitting half a second behind him, eventually forced him into a mistake in the back hairpin. And then from that point on, it was just making sure Chris Eggert doesn't catch me. So.
Yeah, and we saw that a lot throughout the race and all throughout the broadcast. A lot of drivers had a very difficult time keeping the car from underneath them in many of the fast corners. How did you find the handling of the car and just kind of your sort of secrets of being able to keep things so consistent and led you to such a good finish?
Honestly, I kind of felt really good going through the high-speed turns, especially the back hairpin with the camber. The chicanes felt fine, made a mistake or two every couple of laps, but nothing too bad. The only turn I didn't really understand was the second to last double apex right-hander. I was kind of just losing time through there, but it was probably 2/10. So it wasn't too bad, but otherwise the car actually felt really planted. Even from qualifying into the sprint, after the first lap the car felt really planted, which was surprising even on cold tires.
Yeah, you certainly had good control of it. And yeah, we did see you get kind of pushed wide there in that first chicane during the sprint race, but absolutely phenomenal job being able to recover from 9th and get onto the podium. And before we let you go here today, who'd you like to give a shout out to, a good thanks to on just such a well done run? It's so happy to see a first time driver get onto the podium like this.
Yeah, shout out to Jason for hosting me inside SRG. I'm actually the only person inside SRG tonight, so thank you to Jason. Shout out to Jason Green and Danush on P1 and P2, and thank you guys for broadcasting it. It's been a while since I've been on a podium, probably since a season and a half ago, so it feels good to be back.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's always nice to see drivers get really good runs, and today you absolutely performed well. Super well done, Braun, and look forward to seeing you next week. Well done.
Appreciate you. Thank you, guys.
Thank you.
All right, and that was Varun Bali off to celebrate his first podium here in F3. And I had forgotten, Kenan, that he was absolutely brutalized and punted into the grass in that first chicane. I forgot about that, and despite that, claws his way up 6 positions to finish on the podium. So really, really a great drive there by Bali. And one more participant here that's waiting to speak to us, and we'll go ahead and bring him in now. And we should have suspected, actually, that that Cotcher ended up DFLing it in the heat, and the only purpose of that was to get hard charger, which he did up 10 positions to finish in P8, a solid top 10 for you, Jason. So things a little bit messy out there at Oulton Park. So how was the race from your perspective?
Yeah, hey guys, happy Wednesday night. Thanks for having me. Oulton Park was one of the first circuits that I had to learn on iRacing that I didn't know existed until I started playing on iRacing, and I immediately loved it. A little bit like Sonoma for me, kind of Suzuka, twisty elevation, super technical and fast, and just we make jokes, a nun with a ruler around here. You miss a little bit, you're going fast in the grass and you're going to hit the wall. So there's no forgiveness around here, and I've driven it quite a bit in the Miata and the F4. The F3 is a whole nother step faster, and there's really just nowhere to go. I mean, if anything happens in front of you or near you, it's just immediately over. So yeah, you get a crowd of 30, F3 guys out there all trying to go fast and do well, and the adrenaline comes up. I feel like it was always going to be, despite my best efforts to talk everybody down off of the adrenaline. There it is, and sometimes racing goes like that.
Well, and I think you're accurate in the way that you characterize this track, Oulton Park. Much, much more difficult than it looks on paper. You have to be so precise, threading the needle between one blade of grass on the apex, one blade of grass on the exit, across a hill, off camber, and one small mistake results in a catastrophe. And we saw a couple of catastrophes during this one, but very exciting race. I always circle Oulton on the calendar whenever I see it, and I'll just make a personal plea to you. No chicanes next time. I love that mad dash down the hill into Knickerbrook, which is completely ruined by the two chicanes. But I'm going to stop complaining about it someday. I swear. But yeah, great drive, good recovery drive. You are hard charger, and I know that you had to get some legit moves done to make that happen. So excellent drive. And as we conclude, is there anyone you would like to thank or give a shout out to this evening?
Yeah, of course. SRG follows the iRacing schedule exactly, so I don't have to make up the schedule. I don't want to make up the schedule. They built it with the chicanes, and it's a special kind of thrill to go fast around fixed, solid objects. I mean, there's time right up to them like a Long Beach, so it just that much tougher, But yeah, love this place. Shout outs tonight. The first one is F4 crew from last night. That whole squad around Ossersleben in the rain with puddles of death and a whole new line. I mean, there was crashes all over the place, but super challenging, and just love how that group is all racing each other with respect. And yeah, that was super impressive. Shout out to Skyler. He's taking a little bit of a time out for a variety of life events, and sometimes life gets in the way of the hobbies, but I don't know if he's listening tonight or not, but come back, when you can, man. We love racing with you and having you around. Got to go with Igor Grunsky and David Borden. I mean, those guys, Igor drove by me and I couldn't catch him, which is super cool to see him come forward like that. And David, relatively new to F3 and already, causing me headaches in the top 10. So congrats to those guys being up there. And lastly, SRG's newest fan, and she knows who she is, and super stoked to have her around. So thanks, guys.
All right. I could press you on that, Jason, but I'm going to cut you some slack on that and just say we will see you next week. And thanks for stopping by.
Cheers, guys. Thanks.
All right, that was Jason Cotcher, and that's going to wrap up our interviews and wrap up our show here from Oulton Park. But hang on, we are not just about these fantastic open wheelers here on SMB. So I want you to go ahead and hit that subscribe button and hit the notification button so that you don't miss any of the action upcoming. But go ahead and tell you what it is. This Saturday, Weekend Warriors Formula Vs will visit Summit Point, and on Sunday, our Weekend Warriors doubleheader will have Formula Fords at Brands Hatch, Spec Racer Fords at Chicago Street Course. That's right. The unforgiving walls of Chicago with the Spec Racer Fords. That should be a good one. XSLR will run at Charlotte, and next Tuesday, SRG F4s will be racing at Interlagos. And 1 week from tonight, you are not going to want to miss this, as our SRG F3 Warriors travel to Italy to do battle at Monza. So that one will be another fantastic one. So I am JR Gregory on behalf of myself, my partner Charles Boshell, our producer Mike Braun, and everybody here. at SMB, and I'm reading. So I said Charles Boshell, but of course it is Kenan Miller in my F4 partner here covering for Charles. Sorry about that, Kenan. And everybody here at SMB, thank you so much for joining us. Enjoy the rest of the day wherever you are, and hang on, baby. Friday is coming.